All right, we're here. Good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to talk about brown fat. We're going to talk about, I would love to talk a little bit about lectins a little bit later if we can get into it. And then also myo-inositol versus metformin. A new study came out. I think you should be aware of it if you're concerned about blood sugar and wanting natural approaches to modulate your blood sugar and much more. So it says we're here. I'm going to just chat on my, open up on my phone here so that I can see you guys and we can talk and all that good stuff. Give me a second here. Okay, live chat's there. All right, everything is here. So welcome. It's Mike Mutzel with High Intensity Health. I'm really grateful that you're here live. Sometimes the audio just comes through one channel. So if you're listening right now and you're on the chat, let me know how the audio is coming through because I would love to know how that is. I'm going to check this guy right here. Looks like it's good. All right, so we're going to dive right into it. Brown adipose tissue. This has been circulating in metabolic, amongst metabolic researchers in circles for a long time at the American Association for Diabetes. Brown fat is talked about. For those of you guys that may or may not know, published this back in late 2013, early 2014, belly fat effect, and page 22. So just so you know that I've been studying this brown fat topic for a long time. So I've been following this story very, very closely, and that's why it was so exciting to catch up recently with Dr. Ben Bickman and talk a little bit more about the connection between insulin, brown adipose tissue, and ketones. So if you're new to the channel, if you're just coming on, that is an excellent primer, excellent interview that I would highly suggest you check out. Because he's been studying both ketones and implementing a ketogenic diet in his lifestyle. But what's cool is he's also studying brown adipose tissue in his laboratory. So page 22 is all about brown fat, and we talk all about the different types of fat cells, the inflammatory infiltration, and the metabolic shifts that occur within your metabolism, in your immune system. And this is what gets me really excited about the ketogenic diet, is for its anti-inflammatory properties, because our immune cells have different metabolic phenotypes, different metabolic characteristics. So if you have autoimmunity, if you have allergies, you have Hashimoto's, you have lupus, MS, you can really benefit from a low-carb, high-fat diet due to the metabolic shifts that occur within your immune system. It's all covered here in the book, Belly Fat Effect. This is available worldwide on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, etc. So I just wanted you guys to know that there's additional resources in here, over 1,800 references in this book, working on version 2, because this book does not talk about keto at all. Actually, for those of you that have asked in the past about some of the research on endotoxin, metabolic endotoxemia, intestinal permeability, changes in the microbiome associated with a low-carb, high-fat diet. I was just like knee-deep in that research, talking with researchers for a very long time about that. So I wasn't necessarily a total fan of a diehard ketogenic diet back then. Now, I'm obviously more fall into the lines of a seasonally available low-carb diet, but eat seasonally available fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds when appropriate, based upon your activity level and your insulin sensitivity. So just going to check the comments here. Looks like we got a few people coming in from Australia. Thanks for being here. Increase the mic volume, please. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. All right, it should be a little bit better now. How is that? Octavo, let me know how that goes. So, all right, let's talk about brown fat. Let me just make sure that you guys, hello from us, sounds good. Okay, I just got one channel, etc. Recommend all your interviews. Thanks for that, Rick. Okay. Adjust the gain on the mic. Okay, so I did do that, so we should be better. Let me know on that, guys. So here's a paper that I would love to share with you guys, all about brown adipose tissue. So someone had commented a little bit earlier, before we actually got started in the chat. You can actually see it if you look in the chat here, about the fact that there's really no ways to increase brown adipose tissue activation in adults outside of DNP, which is actually not true. There's a lot of research showing that ketone bodies, this is going back to 2007 was the first research study, I believe it was a group out of Spain, found that beta-hydroxybutyrate increased brown adipose tissue. There was a group in China that recently found that green tea drinkers, they did an interventional clinical trial with high catechin and epicatechin green tea and found that those polyphenols and catechins and so forth in the green tea increase brown adipose tissue, which is really exciting. Obviously, cold thermogenesis. So here's one paper, as I just showed it to you. Just want you to kind of see here the title so that you can learn more about it. In tomorrow's webinar, for members, what we're going to do is talk all about all these different research papers, show you the science, show you the applications. Today is just kind of like a primer. So if you want to learn more about that, click the membership link and you can become a member and get access to our member-only content. But suffice it to say, mild cold thermogenesis is associated with increased brown adipose tissue activation. So this is really exciting, guys. There's natural ways that we can actually activate and cause a stimulation in this brown adipose tissue. Cold stress is one of them. And what we see in cold stress when we activate this brown adipose tissue is, guess what? Our muscle, our liver, the brown adipose tissue is more able to actually break down glucose and to break down fatty acids. So we get a reduction in post-meal triglycerides, a better whole body utilization of triglycerides. So there's a few papers. I'm just going to kind of show that this is, when I do these YouTube lives, I'm not just standing here flexing. I'm actually like beforehand prepare, read a bunch of stuff, and I want you guys to be educated on what's going on in the scientific community. So this was one of the papers that I was reading earlier this morning, and what they were showing is that I want to read to you the vernacular that they use. I think it's actually important to talk about. Let's see, I think it was this paper. Sorry guys, I hate to be looking down here. Yeah, so the paper, the terms that they were using, the vernacular, kind of the jargon that these researchers referred to, is this fact that brown adipose tissue induced via mild cold stress can really upregulate and metabolize large amounts of, they call it DFA, it's just dietary fatty acids. So if you're on a low-carb, ketogenic style diet, obviously you're getting more dietary fatty acids, and we want to make sure that you're metabolizing those, because obviously too much oxygen, too much water, we talked about before, too much sex, too much of anything can be too much of a good thing, including fat, right? So these researchers are showing that one way that you can increase your whole body fatty acid metabolism is by upregulating brown adipose tissue. And we're going to talk all about this in much more detail and more on the member webinar tomorrow. But cold stress, polyphenols, ketones, and there's some other strategies as well, including exercise. But let me check in here on the feed, see if you guys have any questions. I think this is super, super fascinating. Got a lot of questions coming in here. Most importantly, I think kind of the big take home from Dr. Bickman's talk and what some of the new research is showing is this inverse correlation between high insulin and then suppression of either the beiging of the white adipose tissue or the activation of the brown adipose tissue that we have existing. So if you're having spikes in insulin, you're eating outside of that time restricted feeding window, you're opening up the meal window, having a lot of snacks, having a lot of carbs, and being inactive, well, that's going to raise insulin, and that's going to suppress or prevent either the beiging, the kind of converting or causing your white adipose tissue to act like brown fat, or and also suppressing the activity of the brown adipose tissue. So that's the key thing here. Obviously, insulin does a few good things in the body. Dr. Tommy Wood talks about that. Without insulin, we would die. However, we don't want to have constant and chronic and insidious insulin spikes. So because it does a lot of different things, it slows down the hepatic formation or the liver's formation of ketones. It affects brown fat, as we're talking about today. So really, really interesting stuff, guys. Let me get to some of your questions. I think Deanna's coming in the door here, so you might see her here. So Amira says, using metformin on keto so it can make a faster adaptation. Yeah, so interesting about metformin. Metformin, there's a lot of good research on metformin. I mean, we're not knocking metformin at all. Now, I'm not one of these people that's anti-drug. I think there's a lot of drugs that have wicked side effects and not a lot of effectiveness. But metformin is very poorly absorbed. Believe it or not, less than 30% of metformin that you ingest is actually absorbed. But why is it so effective? Because it's changing the microbiome. It's reducing metabolic endotoxemia. It's altering the ecology of the intestinal lumen. It's changing gut hormones. It's changing gut ecology. So that's what's really cool about it, is that it's working systemically via the gut. And it turns out there's another nutrient that we talked a lot about on this YouTube channel, on Facebook, and in our members community, and that's berberine hydrochloride. Click here, you can learn all about berberine, how to get really clinical, efficacious and therapeutic berberine that's clean and so forth. Berberine functions very much like metformin in the same mechanisms via the gut. And I recommend this, and there's a few comments actually on a few videos that I've recently got. So if you go on the Ben Bickman interview and then the Jong Rowe interview, people are commenting and saying, what if I'm insulin resistant? Every time I go off keto just for a little bit, I gain a lot of weight and so forth. And that's why I do recommend some of these quote-unquote natural insulin sensitizers like berberine, like myo-inositol, which is what we're going to talk about now, which is a very, very fascinating paper. This came out, when was this paper? It was sometime in August, I believe. So the title of the paper, I'm going to show it to you in a minute, a comparison study between myo-inositol and metformin in the treatment of insulin-resistant women. So check it out here. Hopefully you can see that. And, I've been following this research, like I mentioned, for quite a while. I think berberine and metformin, and we're getting some cool studies coming in here. Rodent studies on pterostilbene suggest it regulates insulin sensitivity more effectively than metformin can. You talk a little bit about your knowledge with pterostilbene. Yeah, so pterostilbene is it's a stilbene-like compound. It's very similar to resveratrol, derived from blueberries. TerraPure from Chromadex in Southern California is the ingredient. I do recommend pterostilbene. There's some good research on it. For example, let me just pause the metformin talk and then do a little sidestep because it has to do with the metformin talk and the myo-inositol talk here. But pterostilbene, this goes across the board. If you're a ketogenic diet, low carb, high fat, I'm going to move a little bit. I'm on an exercise ball. Sorry for moving around, folks. By the way, is the audio getting better? It seems to me like it's getting better, but pterostilbene is really unique in the sense that it's structurally and chemically very similar in function as to resveratrol. And basically, all those polyphenolic compounds, when you ingest them, they increase the bacterial diversity of your microbiome, which is cool thing number one. Number two, cool little tidbit or side benefit, if you will, is this idea that pterostilbene, what it does is it helps to prevent metabolic endotoxemia. So imagine you were having 3 to 4 eggs for breakfast, some avocado, fatty coffee, all that sort of stuff, or lunch, whatever you have, a fatty lunch, fatty dinner. Fat can be absorbed, obviously, through these things called chylomicrons in the intestine and can take with them, like a Trojan horse, endotoxin or gram-negative bacterial fragments. Those can cause a lot of damage. Okay. Not to be too promotional here, but I talk all about this in this book, Belly Fat Effect. So for $14.95, you can learn all about this on Amazon. And that's why, as I mentioned earlier, I was not a huge fan of the ketogenic diet. Although I first got into this in 2002, once I started reading this microbiome research, I was like, you know what? This fatty coffee, having bacon and lard and pork rinds and all this sort of stuff is not a good thing for a lot of people. And it can backfire because they're absorbing bacterial fragments, causing leptin and insulin resistance and all this sort of bad stuff. So long story short, pterostilbene, resveratrol, curcumin, rosemary, garlic, ginger, onions, fiber, exercise, all these things, when you take them simultaneously while you eat high fat, guess what? It reduces the ability of those bacterial fragments to not only get into the body, but it reduces the immunological response to them. So for the person that said something about pterostilbene, I think it was Claire, rodent studies and so forth, 2 thumbs up. I'm a huge fan of getting your polyphenols from food first. So onions, rosemary, garlic, ginger, turmeric. We teach you how to, formulate a high polyphenol ketogenic diet right here. Click the link, become a member, get all the recipes, food guides, and a bunch of replays. So it's essential. If you're eating a lot of fat in your diet, you need to complement those fats with these polyphenolic compounds. Very essential thing. Now, you can further complement your diet with certain supplements like berberine, and we're going to talk about now myo-inositol. Why? Because myo-inositol is one of the various, there's a myriad of different forms and types of inositol. Dechiroinositol, there's straight up inositol, and myo-inositol, it does a lot of cool things in the body. And basically it's not only an insulin sensitizer, but it's a secondary messaging molecule within the brain. So there's some positive effects within the brain, which is super exciting. And so anyway, long story short, as I was mentioning, and if you guys are just coming on, myo-inositol was compared to metformin from an efficacy standpoint. I'm not going to look at the study, but I already read it earlier. They looked at fasting and post-meal triglycerides, fasting and post-meal insulin, and this kind of composite score called the HOMA-IR score. They looked at glucose as well. what they found is that there's really no difference in efficacy between metformin, a drug, and myo-inositol, a natural B vitamin-like compound. So what's really exciting is obviously we want to go the most natural as possible and minimize the side effects. There are side effects with metformin, B vitamin depletions, other things, right? So if we can balance our blood sugar and help to keto adapt and help to become more insulin sensitive naturally, more power to you. So that's what I recommend. I've had a lot of clients that have simultaneously, kind of the three things that I recommend, I'll tell you the companies in a minute here, omega-3 fatty acids in a monoglyceride form from Zymogen. I love myo-inositol, I'll tell you the product I recommend, and berberine hydrochloride. Those three things together, there's a million supplements. People love to just spend $150 a month on exogenous ketones. I think those three things are going to do way more restorative properties for your metabolism, for your body, than just pumping exogenous ketones. Your liver makes 10 to, it's 10 times as much ketones as you're going to get from a little packet, right? So your liver can crank out over 100 grams of beta-hydroxybutyrate per day, right? In the balance ratios with acetoacetate and so on. So long story short, if you're just coming on, you want to learn ways to keto adapt faster if you've been insulin resistant for a while, if you're carrying a little extra body weight and so forth, myo-inositol has a lot of good research on it. One of the formulas that we recommend to our members, because it's so effective for enhancing deep sleep, per the Oura Ring, is called Relax Max by Zymogen. So only available through compounding pharmacies and healthcare practitioners, or our members get access to this at a 15% discount. If you become a member, I'll show you how to do that. But it has over 2 grams of myo-inositol, magnesium, taurine, glycine, L-theanine per serving. So we take this stuff before bed, and it really enhances your sleep architecture. Dominic D'Agostino and other people have been talking about this for a while, how the ketogenic diet enhances deep REM sleep and deep sleep and more restorative phases of sleep, which, by the way, help make you more insulin sensitive, which is really cool. And so, if you can get a blood sugar stabilizing nutrient plus taurine and theanine and magnesium and all these good stuff, these good things that will help make you more insulin sensitive, it's really like a good thing, right? Because it's doing a lot of restoration and improving health in a myriad of different ways. So I've been totally rambling here. Let me check out the live chat. It seems like we got quite a few of you that are still here, which is so cool. If you like this content, if you like what we're doing on this channel, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Tell your friends about this. If you want to take it to the next level, you can always become a member. We have a lot of fun on our private Facebook group, our member webinars. Those every Thursday afternoon, we do those, and they are so much fun, friends. So if you want to take this up a notch and keep learning and get even more behind the scenes stuff, early access to videos, please become a member. So let me see here. It looks like we got a few comments here. So Sherry says, I need more info on berberine. I don't see much results, but I didn't take it for very long. So Sherry, what brand did you take? When were you taking it? Brands do make a difference, so I recommend Zymogen. I can't speak to the other brands or the dosages or the different forms. So there's berberine hydrochloride, and then there's straight up whole berberine root. You want the berberine hydrochloride. So for more details on that, I would suggest for $47 you can become a member, and we walk you through all this sort of stuff if you'd like. Solidario says, I do 3 days dry fast to get faster and deeper into ketosis. I absolutely love that. I think that's brilliant. More power to you, buddy. I think that's awesome. Will says, do you know the benefits of drinking magnesium bicarbonate home drink? I don't know. I mean, I know there's a lot of benefits of magnesium. The magnesium bicarbonate form, I don't know. You might have some GI issues there. So Solidaro says, better drink dark green smoothies instead. So yeah, there was some new research actually just came out that showing apple cider vinegar taken before bed can enhance blood sugar regulation. So this was Mona Morenstein just shared that. So that was pretty interesting. Solidaro says, sound is a single channel. Dude, I don't know what's going on with this sound thing. So let me try and tweak it. You know what? I'm not even going to tweak it again. It's just how it is, guys. I'm sorry, but the YouTube testing 1 2 3. So is it better now? Let me know on that. So I did change it. So Solidaro, if you're still here, let me know I changed it. But I'm having an issue with Wirecast going through my computer, going through my camera there. Okay. Rick says, I recommend all your interviews. I love that. I'm grateful for that, Rick. That is so cool. Shelly says, AQ Legal, Karen, okay, so she's speaking, it looks like, Espanol. Let's see here. Sadly, compound. Okay, so it looks like that's all the comments here. You take your dates. You take on dates. Do we take green smoothies on dates? No, just buy food when we're going. The right channel comes in and out. Okay, I'm sorry. So I don't know what's going on with the audio. I really, really do apologize. So it's just one channel. So sorry about that. Still the same, cutting in and out on the right, and then super loud, and then cutting out. Man, that's not good. I apologize on that. So that is it, guys. If you guys don't have any more questions, that's all I really got for you today. But we're going to talk about this more on the member webinar tomorrow. So just to give you a little heads up on the channel, we created the highintensityhealth.com/insider. So if you want to get access to a lot of the e-courses that we've done in the past, early access to videos, and more behind the scenes content, and then more member webinars where we dissect the research, give you the bullet points, break down and summarize these hour-long interviews. I know a lot of you are busy with time. It's back to school. Days are getting shorter. You don't have as much time, maybe, compared to during the summer to consume content. So I help to break down the videos, give you kind of the salient sound bites, the things you must know on some of these videos. So if you want to join and also support the channel, support this so that we can travel and interview these researchers that are doing cool work like this, please visit this link right here, this little I button. It's called a YouTube card. You click that. You can either join our masterclass, which is $47, enroll in that, get access to a bunch of bonus recipes and videos and workout tips and just tons of content, which will really help you. Or you can become a member via our insider program, and just for like 80 cents a day, you can get access to all this cool stuff and more behind the scenes content, access to our private Facebook group, and much more. So if there's more questions, if there's no more questions, I'm gonna get rocking. But Jacob says green shake, it has natural vegetables. Yes, that's awesome. So Maxim says, would eliminating resistant starches for ketosis mess up the microbiome? Yeah, and so I would check out, let's see, John Douillard. Go back, listen to that interview. John Douillard, it was January, I think I posted January of 2017, so early 2017, we talk about this. So a lot of people, when they go on a gluten-free diet, they decrease the amount of fiber in their diet, and guess what? Their bacterial diversity goes down. So that's something to consider, to think about. Not many people do think about that. And so I do see this when people go on a ketogenic diet, they do get gastrointestinal issues, they get constipation, their bowel movements aren't the same, and so on. So keep that in mind. That's something to definitely consider. Adam says, for those wondering, the membership is well worth the money. Adam, thanks for that. I appreciate that. I'm super grateful that you became a member. It's people like you that's the reason why we continue to do this channel. I mean, it's so fun to YouTube and make videos, but it takes so much time and it takes a lot of money. So with your help, we can continue this and we can even make it better, which is exciting. So, so Will says, I'm considering it. Awesome. I would be grateful for that. So guys, I'm going to part ways with you. We have a new video coming out. It's already in the members area with Gabrielle Lyon, all about protein and how the ketogenic diet, some of the benefits may be via methionine restriction, which is kind of interesting. So she talks all about muscle protein synthesis and protein and mTOR and all this good stuff. So it's already in the members area. You can check it out by going to highintensityhealth.com/member or /insider, or just click this link here. And I think we are, that's going to be it. So I appreciate you coming on this kind of spontaneous YouTube live. If you want to join us tomorrow on the webinar, we'll dive into these studies a little bit more. And then on Saturday, we're going to post that interview with Gabrielle. So I appreciate you tuning in, guys. Hope you have an awesome day and a good rest of your week. Thanks so much.